In the year 1380, more than a century before Columbus set sail across the Atlantic, a strange map appeared in Europe, one that seemed to defy time itself. It was said to have been drawn by two Venetian brothers, Niccolo and Antonio Zeno, and in its inked coastlines lay something extraordinary, an outline of North America, shown with such astonishing accuracy that modern scholars still struggle to explain it. How could men of the medieval age possess knowledge of a continent they were never supposed to have seen? To understand the mystery, one must begin with the quiet crackle of the parchment itself. The so-called Zeno map does not look like a flight of fancy. Its curves, coastlines, and islands bear shapes that mirror reality: the long arc of Greenland, the jagged edges of Labrador, the scattered rocks of Newfoundland, even the subtle bend of what could be Nova Scotia. These are not crude imaginings from second-hand tales. They seem like observations made by sailors who had touched those lands with their own hands. When early researchers first compared the Zeno map to the geography of the North Atlantic, they were stunned. The alignment was too neat, too precise, as if drawn from a modern satellite view. The idea alone challenges centuries of accepted history. If accurate, it would mean that Europeans reached America long before Columbus or Cabot ever glimpsed the western horizon. Behind these faint lines, a forgotten chapter of exploration might be hiding. The Zeno brothers themselves were men of Venice, born into a world of sails and storms. Their family was known for its daring voyages and service to princes. Both Niccolo and Antonio were expert seamen, commanders of ships, adventurers by blood. It was said they voyaged far north, beyond Iceland, into mist-covered seas where compass needles spun and magnetism clouded direction. There, they met a ruler known only as Prince Zeno, a mysterious figure whose kingdom hovered at the edge of myth. In their surviving letters, the brothers spoke of distant lands westward, rugged shores, strange vegetation, and people unfamiliar to them. Some of their words describe territories that resemble modern Greenland and the coast of North America. They mentioned islands with tall forests, fertile soil, and natural harbors, a world that feels strikingly similar to Vinland, the legendary land discovered by Norse explorers centuries before. But how did these Venetian sailors know these places existed? The Zeno map, if genuine, suggests a shared memory passed between cultures, perhaps via sailors, merchants, or the shadowy remnants of the Old Norse world. The Vikings had indeed reached North America around the year 1000, landing on the shores of Newfoundland and calling it Vinland. Long after their settlements faded, could their maps or oral traditions have drifted south through seaways and stories, eventually reaching the hands of Italian navigators? It is not impossible. In medieval ports like Venice, knowledge traveled as freely as the ships that carried it. And yet, the regions drawn on the Zeno map go beyond Norse territory. Its scale captures not only Vinland but larger stretches of coastline that align with parts of modern Canada and even New England. Such precision raises uncomfortable questions for historians. Was it coincidence? Was the map an imaginative reconstruction? Or could it be a record of a real expedition lost to time, a voyage that crossed the Atlantic long before the Age of Discovery began? The more one studies the map, the more the details refuse to fit into the neat lines of official history. The penwork on the shorelines demonstrates an understanding of proportion and latitude uncommon in the 14th century. Even the placement of islands suggests awareness of relative distance between Greenland and the American mainland. This would require direct observation or highly reliable sources. And yet, no record of such an expedition appears anywhere else. When the Zeno map resurfaced in the 16th century, its credibility faced immediate suspicion. Skeptics dismissed it as a clever fraud. They argued that later mapmakers had combined fragments of newer geographical data and attributed them retroactively to the Zeno brothers. But this explanation collapses under scrutiny. The coastlines on the map correspond to features of North America that would not be known until at least 100 years after Columbus. Somehow, the Zeno map depicted them centuries too early. Consider the curvature of what appears to be the Labrador Peninsula. Its contours on the Zeno drawing mirror modern geographic outlines almost perfectly. Yet that portion of the world had not been surveyed until the 1500s. The implication is deeply unsettling. Whoever drew the map had seen the shape of the American Northeast with their own eyes. Or, perhaps, they used an older source, one older still than recorded European exploration. The riddle only deepens when one inspects the placement of Friesland, a large island shown just south of Iceland. On modern maps, no such land exists. For centuries, cartographers copied this island from the Zeno map, believing it was real. Some researchers argue Friesland was simply a misunderstood depiction of the Faroe Islands or an exaggerated Greenland. Others suspect it may represent a landmass that once rose above sea level and later sank, an echo of geological or glacial myth preserved through sailors' tales. The persistence of Friesland across centuries of maps testifies to the Zeno map's influence. Even when explorers failed to find it, they trusted what they saw on parchment more than their own uncertain seas. Such power in cartography does not come from fabrication, it comes from reputation. In medieval times, maps were the sacred instruments of navigation and lineage. To attach one's name to a map meant staking the truth of an entire voyage upon it. The Zeno brothers, renowned mariners of Venice, risked much more than vanity when they shared their work. So who were they drawing for? According to later accounts, Niccolo and Antonio had served under Prince Signy, believed by some to be Henry Sinclair of Orkney, a Scottish nobleman whose name surfaces in another wave of legend. Sinclair, reputedly influenced by remnants of the Knights Templar, was said to have organized expeditions that sailed westward in search of new lands. Some conspiracy theorists argue that these ships reached America long before Columbus, building small settlements on its eastern shores. If this story holds even a kernel of truth, the Zeno map could be the surviving proof of that voyage. But one does not need to invoke secret orders to appreciate the map's significance. Even stripped of myth, its content testifies to a remarkable degree of observation and synthesis. Whoever created it possessed knowledge that should not have been possible in 1380. The portrayal of landmasses reveals consistency in distances and coastal forms rarely matched until European explorers rediscovered those same lands centuries later. The map is either an inexplicable anachronism or evidence of an overlooked connection between Old World and New. To sleep while pondering this mystery is to drift between two oceans, the known and the forgotten. Imagine a candlelit room in 14th century Venice, parchment stretched across a wooden table. A sailor's hand traces a line of ink westward beyond the edge of the world. Outside, the harbor murmurs with wind and the creak of ropes. In that fragile glow, someone commits to paper the impossible truth: there are lands beyond the boundary of maps, and someone has seen them. And so the Zeno map stands as a paradox of history. To some, it is a clever forgery, born of the Renaissance's hunger for prestige. To others, it is the solitary survivor of a genuine exploration erased by time. Every coastline on it whispers the same defiance: Europe did not wait for Columbus to discover America. Perhaps the world has always been smaller than we thought, its secrets patiently waiting to be remembered. Even centuries later, the mystery retains its quiet power. Historians calculate, skeptics argue, believers dream. Yet none can deny the map's haunting precision. It remains in archives and museums, an artifact both beautiful and unsettling, daring us to question what we think we know about discovery. Some riddles are meant not to be solved, but to be contemplated in the soft twilight between waking and sleep. As your eyes grow heavy and the images fade, consider how fragile knowledge truly is. Between myth and reality lies only ink, paper, and the courage to sail past the edge of certainty. The Zeno brothers may never have known they were sketching the seeds of a centuries-long enigma. Yet in their strokes of ink, they left behind a question vast enough to fill the dreams of every generation that followed. The story of the Zeno brothers reaches far beyond simple charting of unknown lands. Niccolo and Antonio were not just mapmakers, but adventurers pushed by curiosity and duty to explore the vast and mysterious North Atlantic. They sailed waters where legends met reality and where the horizon was not a boundary, but an invitation. Imagine the year 1380, Venice bustling with merchants, the air thick with spices and salt from distant ports. The Zeno family, respected and connected, prepared for voyages that defied both caution and convention. The sea beckoned with its promise of riches, mysteries, and undiscovered worlds lying just beyond the edge of the familiar map. Their journeys led them north, sailing past the British Isles, skirting the coasts of Iceland, and pushing into freezing waves where few dared to venture. It was not just a test of seamanship but a battle against nature's fiercest moods. Storms could snatch ships into whirlpools, fog could erase direction, and icebergs lurked like silent sentinels of doom. Yet, in these harsh conditions, the brothers found something more valuable than gold: the knowledge of new worlds. Letters and documents they left behind spoke of Prince Zeno, a figure cloaked in mystery, who ruled over lands scattered with islands and strange peoples. He was said to govern a realm somewhere beyond the Western Sea, a kingdom that lay hidden from the eyes of most Europeans. Many scholars have tried to unravel the identity of this Prince Zeno, linking him to various legends and noble lineages. One popular hypothesis is that he was no other than Henry Sinclair, an Earl of Orkney, who, according to whisperings, crossed the oceans far earlier than most believed possible. Sinclair's story ties deeply to Knights Templar myths, suggesting secret voyages fueled by faith and exploration. The supposed connection to the Knights Templar adds layers of intrigue. After their dissolution in 1312, myths say survivors went underground, continuing their missions in secrecy. Could the Zeno voyages be part of a hidden campaign to expand knowledge and influence across the unknown Atlantic? The letters hint at exchanges between Niccolo, Antonio, and their patrons about the land's geography, mentions of tall mountains, fertile soils, and the inhabitants' customs. Descriptions of immense forests and strange animals suggest first-hand encounters or reliable second-hand reports from explorers who preceded them. These notes are not mere fantasy, they reflect the documented reality of a world surprisingly familiar to us today. Throughout their journey, the Zeno brothers documented routes, measured distances with rudimentary instruments, and compiled charts that became the basis of the infamous map. Their skills bridged the divide between medieval lore and empirical observation, blending romance and precision in equal parts. Much of what they recorded would have been impossible to guess without direct contact with those faraway lands. Historians have debated the extent to which these voyages were intentional explorations or accidental discoveries. Was it a deliberate push westward, driven by political ambitions or economic desires? Or chance landfalls provoked by storms and currents? The letters and writings leave enough ambiguity to fuel endless debate. One fascinating element of their records is how they describe the peoples of these lands. They spoke of communities living off the sea and forest, skilled in crafts unknown to medieval Europeans. The contrast between their worldview and the Zeno descriptions underscores a moment when two vastly different civilizations might have brushed against each other. Archaeological findings in coastal North America lend some support to these ideas. Artifacts of European origin, dating before Columbus, have sometimes been uncovered in remote sites. Though controversial, these findings align intriguingly with the maps and letters left by the Zeno brothers. The brothers' voyages also mark a transition in navigation methods from mythic star charts to more scientific approaches. Instruments such as the compass and astrolabe, once rare, were becoming critical tools. The Zenos exemplified this shift, combining age-old sailor wisdom with emerging technology to chart new horizons. Their route descriptions include mentions of ocean currents and prevailing winds, showing intimate knowledge of natural forces. This knowledge enabled them to sail farther west, confident they could return by following the same invisible pathways. It reflects the careful accumulation of maritime skill centuries before the great discoveries. Yet, shadow remains over many details. Some question whether the letters themselves are as ancient as claimed, suggesting later additions or fabrications. Others see the inconsistencies as natural gaps in memory and recording from a difficult era. Even so, the idea that two Venetian brothers ventured into the cold, wild North Atlantic to meet princes and map unknown coasts excites the imagination. Their story blurs the line between fact and legend, inviting us to reconsider what we thought we knew about early exploration. They sailed into the mists of history, leaving faint footprints visible only under careful scrutiny. Each letter, each chart drawn by their hands, pulses with the beating heart of discovery. Through their eyes, we glimpse a world still waiting to be fully understood, a threshold where medieval Europe's limits gave way to new possibilities. Their voyages remind us that history is not a line but a tapestry, woven from many threads, some visible, some hidden in shadow. In the gentle quiet of your room, as sleep creeps closer, picture the Zeno brothers aboard a ship carved from oak and hope. The sky above, a canopy of stars guiding them through uncharted waters. The cold splash of waves against the hull, the creak of rigging in the wind, and the steady rhythm of oars cutting through early morning fog. Their journey was one of courage and curiosity, taking them beyond maps and myths. They challenged the known world's boundaries, drawing lines that would puzzle explorers for centuries. Their legacy is etched not only in parchment but in the spirit of adventure that defines humanity. As you drift deeper into sleep, let their story carry you westward, into the unknown realms that once teased the imaginations of sailors and scholars alike. Feel the weight of history in your breath, and the promise that even forgotten voyages can echo across time. The Zeno brothers' tale is a bridge between past and future, mystery and knowledge, myth and truth. Hold that thought gently, as if it were a fragile treasure, and allow the murmur of the ocean and the whispers of the wind to lull you toward dreams. In the endless night, the map awaits, its secrets waiting to be rediscovered. And somewhere deep in the silence, the journey continues beyond words. One of the most compelling aspects of the Zeno map is the extraordinary detail given to the North American coastline. Unlike most medieval maps that were drawn more from imagination than from observation, this map captures the intricate contours of the land with surprising accuracy. It shows bays, inlets, and peninsulas that align strikingly with the modern geography of Canada's eastern shore and Newfoundland. The very shape of Greenland, a notoriously difficult landmass to chart at that time due to its icy wilderness and treacherous waters, is depicted with remarkable precision. This observation alone suggests the mapmaker or source behind these lines had first-hand knowledge of those northern regions. The Greenland of the Zeno map curves in a way that modern cartographers recognize immediately. Moving south, the depiction of the Labrador Peninsula stands out for its faithful representation. It is drawn with care, showing the jutting angles and rugged coastline that define this part of northeastern North America. Such details were unknown to most Europeans well into the 16th century. Yet the map's accuracy does not end there. Islands spread across the waters, like pieces of a puzzle fitting together along the shores in a way that matches satellite data rather than medieval guesses. Newfoundland, for example, is formed with a shape that is easily identifiable though somewhat stylized. It reveals harbors, bays, and promontories that could only have been known through direct observation. One might wonder, how did the Zeno brothers acquire this knowledge? The map was created long before official documented expeditions to these regions took place. Could it be that the brothers themselves sailed these coasts, or did they rely on earlier sources, perhaps the Norse sagas or secret voyages of others? The mystery deepens when considering the origins of their data. The Viking settlements in Greenland and Vinland were established centuries before, around the year 1000. Archaeological evidence confirms their presence, but how their discoveries might have filtered down to Renaissance cartographers is less clear. The oral traditions and fragmented manuscripts may have been the map's invisible foundation. What complicates matters is the existence of strange place names on the map, such as Friesland, which does not exist today. These toponyms puzzle historians and geographers alike, creating a blend of fact and fantasy. Friesland might represent a misunderstanding or an island lost to rising seas or mythical realms, yet its presence on the map marks the imaginative distance the Zeno brothers traveled. The inclusion of these phantom islands suggests the map was not solely a product of observation but also a repository of popular myths and sailors' tales. Still, the impressive topographical fidelity to known lands overshadows these anomalies. It is as if the brothers combined real knowledge with legend, crafting a map that sits on the threshold between reality and imagination. Amongst the more startling features of the map are suggestions of landscapes far to the south, near the present-day coastlines of New England or the Canadian Maritimes. These areas appear with preliminary outlines that echo features later confirmed by explorers. It hints at early charts or stories of these coasts circulating long before the age of Columbus. The Zeno map's extraordinary detail forces historians to reconsider the timeline of exploration and contact between Europe and North America. If the map derives from authentic voyages, either those of the Zeno brothers or earlier navigators such as Henry Sinclair or Viking remnants, then our understanding of history must expand. Possibly, the discovery of America was a gradual process, forgotten and rediscovered in cycles. The precision may also indicate advanced maritime knowledge within the Mediterranean and northern Europe at the time. Navigation techniques, though primitive by today's standards, combined with centuries of accumulated observation could have allowed exceptional explorers to reach far shores. It redefines the narrative of who first connected old and new worlds. Some scholars speculate that the Zeno brothers belonged to a network of merchant aristocrats and secret societies that guarded geographical secrets meticulously. Their map may have been a strategic asset, designed to chart profitable routes or claim spheres of influence unseen by rivals. This idea marries commerce with cartography and cloak-and-dagger politics. Behind every line lies a story of human courage and ambition, framed by the perilous seas and constant the threat of failure. Knowing the dangers the brothers faced lends weight to their accomplishments. Their maps were not merely sketches on parchment but blueprints of discovery and survival. The Zeno brothers' work is a reminder of the interconnectedness of knowledge, how information is shared, adapted, and sometimes hidden through centuries. Their map is proof that the age of discovery was preceded by a quiet, less visible age of curiosity and exploration in the shadows. It compels us to look beyond the textbooks and seek the whispers in old documents. As twilight deepens and your breathing steadies, picture the complex processes behind those maps, sailors' tales filtered through translators, distances measured by eye and instrument, unknown land stitched together piece by piece. This careful weaving of geography is as much art as science, a quest to understand a world half known and half imagined. It is a treasure hidden in the folds of history, waiting to be unfolded with patience and wonder. In the quiet, those coastlines come alive, not just lines on parchment but hints of ancient voyages, crewed by men driven by hope and enigmatic quests. The map whispers of their courage, and of lands waiting silently beyond the horizon. And within that whisper, the seeds of tomorrow's discoveries were sown. Rest now, with the knowledge that the story of exploration is vast and full of surprising turns, and that even when history feels settled, mysteries like the Zeno map remind us the ocean still holds its secrets close. Drift deeper into sleep as the map's details soften, becoming the landscape of dreams. Tomorrow, who knows what new truths the light will reveal? Beyond the physical contours of the coastline, the map intrigues us with connections that reach into the realms of history, legend, and secret societies. Among these connections, the notion of Vinland stands out prominently. This legendary land, recounted in Norse sagas and ancient tales, is believed to be part of North America discovered by the Vikings a half-millennium before Columbus. Vinland serves as a bridge between the archaic oral histories of northern explorers and the detailed cartography of the Zeno brothers. The sagas tell of Viking expeditions led by Leif Erikson, who sailed westward from Greenland, encountering new lands rich in wood, fertile soil, and mild climates. These accounts of Vinland are among the earliest records of European contact with the Americas. They describe a place abundant with resources unknown to medieval Europe. Though long regarded as myth, archaeological discoveries at El Ants Auxiliary Meadows in Newfoundland have confirmed a Norse presence on North American soil. The Zeno map echoes these Viking narratives with its detailed depiction of landscapes that bear a striking resemblance to the areas described in the sagas. Its depiction of islands and coastlines closely matches locations scholars associate with Vinland and the surrounding regions. This suggests that the knowledge of Viking voyages was preserved and integrated into the cartographic traditions of the late 14th century. How such knowledge reached Venice and the Zeno brothers remains a captivating question. One possibility is that stories and maps were passed down through generations of seafarers traversing the northern Atlantic routes. The exchange of information among northern European sailors, merchants, and explorers could have preserved these glimpses of Vinland long after the original settlements vanished. Further layers of mystery emerge when we examine the whispered connections to the Knights Templar and other secret societies. The dissolution of the Knights in the early 14th century left behind a shadowy network of agents, some of whom are believed to have undertaken covert voyages to safeguard sacred knowledge. Some theorists propose that the Zeno voyage was part of this clandestine effort to expand the reach of these orders across the unknown seas. Prince Zeno, who appears prominently in the Zeno brothers' accounts, is conjectured to be intertwined with the Templar legacy. Some historians speculate that Zeno corresponds to Henry Sinclair, Earl of Orkney, whose name surfaces in legends of early transatlantic voyages. Sinclair is often depicted as a figure straddling nobility, exploration, and secretive religious missions. The hypothesis that a Templar-linked expedition reached North America centuries before Columbus is both thrilling and controversial. It challenges established narratives and invites us to consider how power, faith, and knowledge might have intertwined on the high seas. The Zeno map's vague references and encoded symbols could be residual marks of these secret endeavors. Regardless of the validity of these conjectures, the blending of cartography, history, and myth highlights the complexity of early exploration. The Zeno brothers' map is not merely a tool for navigation but a tapestry woven from stories, beliefs, and the human urge to comprehend the unknown. Its lines trace a path through fact and folklore alike. This fusion of legend with geography might explain some of the map's peculiarities, including the inclusion of mystical islands and exotic landmarks. These elements capture the imagination, conjuring visions of a world where discovery was as much spiritual as it was material. For the medieval mind, maps were portals to wonders, dangers, and divine mysteries woven into the fabric of the earth. The Zeno brothers' integration of real places with mythical elements echoes a larger tradition in medieval cartography, where the known world mingled with the fantastic. This approach reflected the minds of their time, navigating between empirical observation and allegory. In this way, the map serves as a cultural artifact, revealing the worldview of an era standing on the cusp of change. Tracing the map's connections to Vinland and the Knights Templar invites us to imagine the countless voyages lost to history. Were these only accidents of memory and omission or deliberate erasures? Did political or religious forces suppress knowledge of these discoveries? Were these early explorers considered heretics or pioneers? The silence that follows their stories inspires as much curiosity as the map itself. No matter the truth, the map forms a bridge, a meeting point between Europe's medieval past and the dawn of the modern world. In its details, myth, and mystery, it captures the restless spirit of human exploration and the longing to unveil hidden lands. It reminds us that history is a living narrative, ever evolving as new evidence and perspectives awaken forgotten truths. Close your eyes and let your mind sail with the Zeno brothers, riding cold northern swells toward distant shores. Hear the creak of the wooden ship beneath your feet, the salt wind frothing on your lips, and the soft murmur of ocean waves blending with whispered legends. In that moment, the boundary between history and dream collapses, and the map's secrets begin to reveal themselves. Let yourself drift gently through the night, as the stories carried on medieval seas mingle with the promise of discovery. Feel the allure of lands beyond sight, painted not only on parchment but imprinted in the human imagination. The journey through time and tide continues, endless and wide as the ocean itself. Sleep now amid the echoes of ancient voyages and secret orders, held safe by the steady pulse of the sea and the quiet dignity of uncharted maps. For the Zeno brothers, their mysterious prince, and the lands they sought, the night is a harbor where dreams anchor without fear. And tomorrow, as dawn breaks, new stories will arise from the depths, ready to be told. As the story unfolds, one cannot ignore the possible involvement of the Knights Templar, whose legacy casts a long shadow over the waters of the North Atlantic. This revered and feared order, famed for both their martial prowess and secret knowledge, vanished from public view in the early 1300s under mysterious circumstances. Legend suggests surviving members carried hidden missions far beyond Europe, perhaps steering voyages into new territories. The hypothesis linking the Zeno brothers' voyages to the Templars ignites imaginations. What if these explorers were not sailing merely for trade or fame but as part of a divine or secret mandate? This theory finds subtle echoes in the references to Prince Signy, who some claim was aligned with Templar ideals or command. Could Signy himself have been a guardian of arcane knowledge, navigating political and spiritual frontiers simultaneously? Historical records provide few direct clues, yet the puzzle pieces come together in the coded language and allegories hidden within the Zeno documents. Maps were not only practical tools but often vessels of encrypted messages, understood only by select circles. The unmarked routes and symbols on the Zeno map suggest a layered meaning beyond geography. The timing of the voyages, coinciding with the dissolution of the Templar Order, hints at a continuity of purpose. Some believe that secret Templar factions organized explorations into the North Atlantic to establish alternative power centers away from the watchful eyes of hostile powers. These expeditions may have sought places untouched by the conflicts and dogmas of Europe. Within this framework, the Zeno map becomes more than a chart. It becomes a token of trust, a map passed only among trusted parties. The secretive nature of the operations likely explains why little official record exists. Such mysteries fuel speculation about lost libraries, hidden archives, and suppressed knowledge. Weaving the Templar connection with the map's accuracy introduces a fascinating tension between secrecy and revelation. The map's details indicate precise observations, yet its hidden meanings demand interpretation, as if guarding truths awaiting discovery. In the cryptic shadows of medieval Europe, the Zeno brothers' stories glide between light and darkness. Looking beyond their possible affiliations, the brothers' voyages also illustrate a broader moment in maritime history when new navigational methods began to emerge. Combinations of celestial navigation, improved instruments like the compass and astrolabe, and growing empirical knowledge were transforming how the seas were understood. The Zenos may have been early adopters of these innovations or synthesized knowledge from diverse sources. Their success in mapping complex coastlines and charting unknown waters suggests a remarkable blend of practical skill and daring intellect. This blend allowed them to navigate not only physical challenges but the uncertainties of knowledge transmission through oral tradition and hearsay. The map they created stands as a testament to this synthesis. While mystery surrounds their voyages, the impact must be understood in the context of pre-Columbian exploration. Many scholars now agree that the discovery of America was not a singular event but a series of encounters spanning centuries and cultures. The Zeno brothers' contributions may represent an important link in this chain, forgotten but significant. Some historians argue this early European awareness could have influenced cartographic knowledge elsewhere. Maps bearing resemblance to the Zeno map appear sporadically in later works, hinting at a transmission of ideas, perhaps kept secret for generations. This challenges the notion that mapping America began solely with Columbus and his successors. The ongoing examination of manuscripts, maps, and archaeological data suggest a deep undercurrent of exploration and contact before official records. Rare pieces of evidence emerge from dust-covered archives and burial sites, challenging accepted narratives, encouraging us to rethink the history of exploration. The Zeno map becomes a key to unlocking this hidden history. In this unfolding tale, the brothers embody the timeless human drive to probe the unknown, to chart the unseen, and to plunge into uncertainty with hope and courage. Their endeavors speak of boldness, perseverance, and the thirst for knowledge that has propelled many through history's darkest waters. It is a story not of conquest but of discovery, a journey inviting us all to look beyond the familiar. Imagine the night skies as the brothers sailed under stars whose names you might recognize but whose meanings were once shrouded in mystery. Each constellation a guide, each celestial movement a signal, they steered their course amid darkness and doubt. Theirs was a navigation that combined faith, science, and instinct. The chilling Atlantic winds carried them westward, past islands and ice, toward perspectives unknown. In their wake, they left whispers of journeys that strained the limits of contemporary knowledge. Though centuries have passed, those whispers echo still in the folds of history. As your breathing slows and your thoughts grow still, picture those voyages not just as historical events but as living memories, alive and waiting in the quiet. Let the waves of sleep wash over you, carrying the weight of ancient explorations and the secrets of maps long hidden. The night is thick with possibility, and in dreams, the horizons are boundless. In sleep's embrace, the Zeno brothers sail forever, pioneers on seas where history and legend meet. Their charts guide us through mystery, their courage inspires the search for truth beyond mere words. And the journey, eternal as the moon's path, continues through time and tide, beckoning us onward. Navigating the unknown seas required not only courage but mastery of emerging techniques in maritime science. The Zeno brothers operated at a time when navigation was evolving from pure instinct and superstition to a more calculated and documented practice. Their achievements reflect this burgeoning synthesis of art and science, guiding them through unmeasured waters. The compass, which had revolutionized seafaring not long before, provided a reliable sense of direction unshaken by the whims of weather or fog. Alongside this, the astrolabe allowed for measurements of celestial bodies to determine latitude, giving sailors a scientific foothold in navigation. The Zeno brothers' records suggest they were conversant with these instruments, adapting them for their daring transatlantic ventures. Yet, mere tools could not guarantee success. The brothers navigated by combining technological skill with deep observation of ocean currents, wind patterns, and the behavior of sea life. These natural markers enabled them to infer routes and maintain course when instruments faltered or were unavailable, a testament to their seamanship. The harmony of nature, technology, and experience guided their vessels westward. Their journey occurred during a period when Mediterranean maritime powers vied for dominance, and acquiring reliable charts meant the difference between fortune and disaster. Venice, the brothers' home, was a thriving hub of commerce and naval prowess, where knowledge of distant lands conferred both strategic and economic advantage. It is within this vibrant context that the Zeno voyages unfolded. As their ships sailed icy seas, the brothers painstakingly documented their findings, knowing that this knowledge was a precious commodity. Each coastline sketched, each island located, carried information crucial to future expeditions and trade negotiations. Their map was a living document, a record of courage and discovery assembled under the pressure of unknown risks. Their depiction of the Atlantic's breadth demonstrates a grasp of scale uncommon for their era. Unlike earlier maps that compressed or distorted vast distances, their charts suggest a more realistic understanding of oceanic expanses. This knowledge would have required calculations and observations integrated carefully over multiple voyages. The blending of folklore and empirical observation on their map should be considered a reflection not only of their knowledge but of the period's mindset. Medieval exploration was frequently accompanied by stories of monsters, enchanted islands, and divine interventions, elements inseparable from the human experience of the unknown. The Zeno brothers' map embodies this duality, capturing wonder alongside precision. One must also consider the painstaking process of map-making itself in the 14th century. Without printing presses, maps were hand-drawn, copied, and often reinterpreted by successive generations of cartographers. This transmission process sometimes led to alterations intentional or accidental that complicate the map's historical accuracy. Yet, the Zeno map's continuity and influence speak to its impact and credibility among contemporaries. Its elements reappear in later nautical charts and exploration documents, hinting at the map's role in bridging medieval geography with Renaissance discoveries. It is part of a cartographic lineage that connects imagination with navigable reality. Explorers who followed in subsequent centuries might have relied, knowingly or unknowingly, upon the faint traces laid down by the Zeno brothers. This silent inheritance appends the simplified story that Columbus alone opened the ocean to Europe. Instead, it paints a picture of gradual revelation, built by many hands over decades and centuries. The Zeno brothers' voyages occupy a threshold between myth and history, between lost knowledge and emergent discovery. Their map stands as a testament to human curiosity, an artifact cloaked in shadow yet radiant with promise. Each line drawn is a thread reaching backward and forward through time, inviting us to trace its course. In the stillness of night, imagine yourself aboard their ship, the wooden deck creaking beneath your feet, the cold sea spray on your face. Above, the stars wheel silently, their ancient patterns guiding your path. Below, waves murmur stories of journeys past and yet to come, songs of adventurers who dared defy the horizon. These travelers, armed with little beyond maps, instruments, and sheer resolve, braved the vast unknown. Through storms and placid seas, their legacy endures, etched in forgotten parchment and whispered legends. Their courage illuminates the shadows of history, a beacon for those who seek knowledge beyond the familiar. As your breath deepens and the pull of sleep grows stronger, let their voyage become your own, carrying you on currents of wonder and reflection. Allow yourself to be transported across time and space, to where the boundaries between fact and myth soften. In this timeless ocean, every wave is an invitation to explore further. Rest now, cradled by the mysteries of the sea, the honor of exploration, and the enduring quest for truth. The Zeno brothers sail on, forever charting the unknown, their journey echoed in the dreams of those who dare to follow. And with the dawn, a new horizon awaits, endless and open. The debate surrounding the authenticity and significance of the Zeno map continues to captivate historians and enthusiasts alike. Critics argue that the map may be a clever forgery or composite, created in a later century to inflate Phoenician maritime achievements. Supporters counter that the map's detailed portrayal, especially of unexplored northern coastlines, is too precise to be mere fantasy or fabrication. Skeptics point to inconsistencies in the Zeno documents, questioning the reliability of the letters attributed to Niccolo and Antonio. Some claim that these writings might be literary inventions from the Renaissance period, designed to stir curiosity and national pride. Others argue that translation errors and historical ambiguities have obscured the true origins of the source material. Nonetheless, many scholars emphasize the map's valuable contribution to the history of cartography and exploration. Its influence on later mapmakers and navigators is evident, marking a transitional point between medieval imagination and Renaissance accuracy. The map serves as a bridge, connecting legendary tales with practical maritime knowledge. The map's appearance during a turbulent era in European history adds to its mystique. Venice faced many challenges: political rivalry, shifting alliances, and the dangers of seafaring. In such times, having access to secret or advanced geographical knowledge could mean significant advantage. Whether the Zeno brothers themselves sailed to these distant lands or compiled information from earlier expeditions is still debated. Their accounts suggest a mixture of first-hand experience and inherited knowledge, a mosaic of exploration narratives. The map embodies this complex synthesis, making it a fascinating subject for ongoing research. Various theories surrounding the map range from it being a medieval attempt to record Norse voyages, to a clandestine Templar chart designed for secret missions. Regardless of origin, it underscores the dynamic and exploratory spirit of the late Middle Ages. The boundaries of the known world were expanding, and the Zeno map captures this moment of transition vividly. The mysterious island of Friesland, the detailed depiction of Greenland, and the possible references to Vinland inspire further questions. Some believe that uncharted lands disappeared beneath rising waters or shifted with changing coastlines over centuries. This idea intertwines geology with history, highlighting the ephemeral nature of exploration. The map also raises questions about the transmission of knowledge in medieval Europe. How much did oral tradition influence written documents? How were discoveries communicated among merchant republics, monarchs, and explorers? The Zeno map invites us to ponder these networks of exchange and secrecy. Its survival through centuries and the intrigue it continues to inspire testify to the enduring human fascination with discovery. The map acts as a symbol of humanity's restless curiosity and desire to reach beyond the horizon. It reminds us that even in the face of uncertainty, the quest for knowledge drives progress. Pause for a moment and visualize the map itself, its faded lines and cryptic annotations. Each stroke is a whisper from the past, a silent testament to voyages undertaken and mysteries pursued. The parchment bears witness to human endeavor written in ink, preserved through time. Imagine standing in a dimly lit study, the air thick with dust and history, where scholars once debated the map's secrets. Hands hover above its surface, tracing routes no longer visible on modern charts. In these quiet moments, the past speaks directly to the present. As sleep washes over, carry this image with you: the map as a portal connecting centuries, a bridge between curiosity and understanding. Allow the thoughts of forgotten explorers and secret orders to lull your mind gently into rest. In dreams, the boundaries of known worlds dissolve into endless possibility. In the quiet night, the Zeno map remains a riddle, a guide, an invitation. Its lines beckon the imagination, urging us to keep searching, to keep wondering. And as you drift deeper into sleep, remember that history is never static, it grows with each new question asked. The influence of the Zeno map stretches far beyond its own time, shaping how later generations understood the world and their place within it. With each new voyage and rediscovery, the contours first sketched by Niccolo and Antonio gained clarity and significance. This was a preliminary step in a long process of revealing continents and cultures to Europe and the wider world. By the time the Age of Discovery peaked, maps became crucial tools for explorers like Columbus, Cabot, and Cartier. The Zeno map, whether directly or indirectly, fed into this evolving cartographic tradition, offering glimpses of lands yet to be fully charted. Their work hinted at a world larger than imagined, beckoning explorers westward with both promise and peril. Exploration shifted from isolated voyages of chance to coordinated expeditions with political and economic goals. Kingdoms and empires saw the value in geographic knowledge, sending fleets to claim new territories and resources. Maps were no longer just aids but symbols of power, instruments of conquest and diplomacy. In this context, the Zeno map takes on a greater meaning. It represents a transitional artifact, where medieval curiosity meets Renaissance ambition. Though a relic, it brims with the energy of a world on the cusp of transformation, ready to burst beyond known boundaries. Its geographic details, especially of the North Atlantic, set a foundation that encouraged further exploration and settlement. The echoes of the Zeno brothers' deeds can be traced in subsequent voyages of discovery and conquest. Their vision expanded the European imagination, cultivating a new appreciation for the vastness and diversity of the globe. This expansion was not without conflict or consequence. The discovery and colonization of new lands led to dramatic cultural exchanges, alliances, and violent confrontations. The Zeno map silently anticipates these upheavals, a quiet witness to the unfolding human drama. Its lines trace a path that would change the course of history. Yet within these consequences lies the enduring human spirit of curiosity and connection. The map reminds us that exploration often begins with questions and wonder before results even become visible. The spirit that drove Niccolo and Antonio to chart unknown waters pulses in every act of discovery. Look closely and you can see the birth of global interconnection in the shadows cast by their lines. Trade routes, cultural exchanges, and shared knowledge all owe something to those first intrepid mariners daring the unknown. The Zeno map helped sow the seeds of globalization long before it was named. In these ways, the map is more than a geographic document, it is a symbol of human progress and the desire to know. Its survival is a testament to the resilience of knowledge, passed down through generations despite upheaval and change. It carries the legacy of shared exploration as an enduring human endeavor. Imagine, as you relax, the slow unfolding of the world, piece by piece, line by line, map by map. From sea to land, from coast to heartland, explorers wove strands of connection that grew into networks spanning continents. The Zeno brothers were pioneers on this vastly expanding tapestry. As sleep envelopes you, reflect on the passage of centuries and the many hands that added to this story. Every discovery, however small, led onto the works of those before, weaving a richer, more intricate picture of the Earth. The map is a silent chorus of these voices, each contributing their part to the song of human exploration. Drift deeper now, into dreams filled with voyages across oceans and time. In this space, the boundaries between past and present blur, and the map's mysteries open like a vast horizon. Let your mind sail freely, carried on the winds of curiosity and wonder. Rest in the knowledge that you are part of this ongoing journey, linked to those who dare to seek beyond the horizon. The Zeno brothers' map remains a beacon, urging us onward into the unknown with courage and hope. And as dawn approaches, the endless adventure of discovery renews itself once more. The Zeno map also invites us to consider the possibility of early contact and trade between the Old World and the New before Columbus's famous voyage. Artifacts discovered in North America hint at interactions and exchanges that challenge the simple narrative of discovery. European goods found in remote archaeological sites suggest more than coincidence. They hint at early encounters, sustained exchanges, or even settlements. Such evidence aligns intriguingly with the geographic knowledge encapsulated in the Zeno map, suggesting that pre-Columbian transatlantic contacts were more common than previously thought. It forces historians to question the scale and nature of these interactions, reaching beyond isolated incidents toward patterns of contact. Possibly, networks of trade and communication existed across the ocean, connecting cultures in ways now lost to time. These early contacts, though limited compared to later colonization, would have laid groundwork for later voyages and exchanges. They suggest a world more interconnected than the isolated continents once believed. Languages, technologies, and ideas could have traveled alongside goods, subtly shaping societies on both sides of the Atlantic. The knotted threads of these interactions form a complex picture, one where exploration was not only a matter of discovery, but of relationship building. Acts of exchange, diplomacy, and cultural curiosity likely accompanied the mapping efforts of the Zeno brothers. Their maps could be both guides and records of these nascent connections. The possibility of early European settlements in North America also lingers within this narrative. While most evidence suggests these were small and short-lived, their impact on indigenous peoples and geography is worth considering. The Zeno map's detailed depictions may reflect the memory or report of such presences. Such notions expand our understanding of the Atlantic not as a barrier, but as a space of connection and exchange. The ocean becomes a conduit for the movement of people, goods, and ideas across vast distances. It underscores how geography has always been dynamic, shaped by the flow of history. Though definitive proof remains elusive, the hints offered by the Zeno map and related evidence inspire continued investigation. Scholars comb archives and shores, seeking fragments that piece together the forgotten history of contact. Every find, no matter how small, adds weight to a narrative once dismissed or overlooked. The story of early contact before Columbus enriches our appreciation for human resilience and adaptability. It reveals the courage of those first explorers venturing beyond known seas, driven by curiosity, necessity, or ambition. Their legacies ripple through time, influencing generations yet to come. In this light, the Zeno brothers' map can be seen as a testament to the beginnings of a globalized world. A world where connections moved beyond trade routes to include exchange of culture, knowledge, and ideas. Their cartography captures the early strokes of this profound transformation. Picture the silent exchanges, gifts passed across unfamiliar shores, languages trying to bridge gaps, shared knowledge sparking new inventions. In these moments, humanity's shared story begins to unfold, marked by both discovery and cooperation. The ocean was a stage, the map a script waiting to be interpreted. Let the thought of these ancient connections gently wash over your mind. Imagine waves of history moving steadily, bringing disparate worlds into contact and conversation. Feel the pulse of shared humanity that transcends time and place. Sleep now amidst dreams of voyages that braided lives and lands into the rich tapestry of history. As you drift, visualize the Zeno map glowing softly in the dark, its lines glowing with the promise of encounters waiting to be recalled. In the stillness, the past beckons, inviting you to listen and dream. You are part of this unfolding story, connected to explorers who dared to cross storms and seas. The map remains a lantern in the night, a hint of mysteries yet to be unraveled. And as dawn approaches, new journeys begin, and new connections form across the horizon. Welcome, dear listeners, to this final chapter of our journey, where history and mystery entwine, where maps drawn centuries ago still pulse with secrets waiting to be heard. As we close this tale of the Zeno brothers, let us linger gently on the echoes of their voyages, the whispers of forgotten seas, and the enduring spirit of discovery. This story is not simply about lines on parchment, but about human courage, curiosity, and the endless longing to know what lies beyond the horizon. Niccolo and Antonio Zeno sailed with hearts full of wonder, with minds adept at weaving fact and legend, their map a testament to that delicate dance. Through storms and calm waters, under skies studded with stars, these brothers ventured into the unknown, charting coastlines with skill honed by tradition and innovation. Their legacy, folded into fragile parchment, outlasted centuries, inviting us to remember that exploration is a thread that never breaks. The Zeno map challenges what we accept about history, about discovery as a singular event. It reveals layers, intersections, and hidden chapters, stories buried in archives, carried by currents, whispered from one generation to the next. The Atlantic, once a barrier, becomes a bridge. As you listen and drift, imagine the fragile ship slicing through Atlantic mists, carrying two brothers propelled by hope, guided by stars, mapping land that few Europeans had ever seen. Picture nights lit by lantern glow, days filled with endless horizon, lungs filled with ocean air. These voyages hint at truths tangled with myth, secret societies, lost islands, ancient kings, and faded settlements. Each adds color to the tapestry of human endeavor, a complex weave of dreams and realities, ambitions and doubts, triumphs and setbacks. The map holds more than geography, it holds history's pulse, the heartbeat of explorers who risked all for a glimpse of what lay beyond. It is a symbol of the human spirit's refusal to be confined, a celebration of boundless curiosity that continues to inspire. Let us honor that spirit, as we end this tale, by embracing the unknown with open hearts and eager minds. May the Zeno brothers' daring inspire journeys not just across seas, but across the landscapes of thought, imagination, and hope. Thank you for joining this voyage, for sailing these ancient waters with me, for listening with quiet wonder as the story unfolded, like waves breaking gently on distant shores. Your presence turns this history into a living conversation, a shared dream. Rest now, beneath the vast sky of possibilities, knowing that every question you carry is a star in the constellation of discovery. And as your eyes close, may you sail peacefully, carried by winds of mystery, into the embrace of restful sleep. Until we meet again, may your dreams be vast as oceans, your curiosity boundless as the sky, and your spirit as enduring as the Zeno map, forever guiding seekers beyond the horizon. Good night, dear listeners, and may your journey continue, wherever it may lead.